Hello, everyone. Today was a pretty good day. I had the day off, and the best part, I got brand new headphones. The Sony WF-1000XM6s. They arrived by Amazon in the mail this morning at around 6:30 a.m. As soon as I was woken up by our family friend who told me there was a package waiting for me outside, I immediately jumped up with excitement, ran out, and opened the package on the kitchen table with a kitchen knife and ripped it open. And lo and behold, the XM6s were there. As soon as I saw them, I was like, I need to try these out. So I took them out, I put them on, and the very first song that I heard from them that I wasn't expecting to hear, as soon as I connected to them to my phone, was the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword theme, which it took me an embarrassing long time to realize it was the Skyward Sword theme before I was like, oh yeah, that's it. Oh my goodness, why is that playing on these headphones as the first song as soon as I'm done pairing them? Turns out that as soon as you pair the headphones, it immediately opens your default app that you have for music, and it plays whatever's available on the first track. And apparently that was one of the first song that was available on the track, so I guess that was my introduction to these headphones. And I have to say, the audio quality is very good. I thought it was very crisp, very clean, very punchy, and very impressive considering the small form factor of these guys. And the cool thing is that they look kind of like eggs, so very nice. Reminds me of that egg-shaped UFO that was shown around the orientation of Donald Trump's second presidency. Ross Coulthart released that footage just like a rallying cry saying, "Time for disclosure." Now we've got some more interesting updates about the whole alien thing. Apparently, former President Barack Obama was asked, are aliens real? And then he said, they're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being held in Area 51, which was oddly specific. And and then later on, like after the podcast was over, he like retracted his statement, and he stated, "Oh no, what I meant was, in a universe as vast as our universe, there has to be alien life out there, somewhere in the cosmos. I was never shown any during my 4 years as president." So wait a minute, you sound extremely sure, but then suddenly backtrack and say, "Oh no, there are aliens, but they've just never crossed the vast distances of space to visit us." I mean, wouldn't I don't know, it's so weird. He looked so certain when he said they're real, but I've never seen them. And they're not being held in Area 51 or any underground base, but there may be some conspiracy where there's like a secret government underneath the surface government that is hiding the info. Or I think he said something like that. Don't 100% quote me. I know the start of that sentence was true. The end, I'm like, I thought I heard him say something like that, but I'm not 100% sure. So don't quote me on that. Do your own research. But anywho, and then afterwards, Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, was asked about Barack Obama's comment, and he stated, "Oh yeah, that stuff's classified. We're not supposed to talk about the stuff. Not exactly sure why he talked about it, but it's not something he should be talking about. I have no opinion on the matter. I don't really have an interest in that. I'm just trying to, you know, do my thing. And then he left him like, wait, what? That is a weird thing to say, like, oh, that's classified information. Why is he sharing that? But I have no opinion on, like, what? Okay, so Obama says they're real, but I've never seen them. Then apparently he retracts his statement a little later, saying, "Oh no, in the vastness of the universe, there has to be aliens somewhere." And but they've never been here because they can't travel those vast light years. And then Trump says he can't talk about that. That's classified, but not sure why he's talking about that. But I've never seen him. I mean, I know Trump has had a streak of lying and, or overblowing things a lot, or just exaggerating details. But that seems like something like very oddly specific to say. So I don't know. It's weird. All I know for sure is like there was like a Joe Rogan podcast where he was on during his campaign trail, Trump's campaign trail for his second term, where he stated, like, pilots have seen some things, and that's pretty interesting. But like I said, I'm not that interested in that. I'm wondering, is the reason why he keeps on saying he's not interested is because like he's told not to talk about it, so he's trying to like show he's like doesn't like lose his job or something, or does he genuinely just not have an interest in the fact that there may be extraterrestrial life that has visited our planet, or non-human life, and he just doesn't really, he's not fazed by that at all, or doesn't think it's that amazing at all, which is kind of weird, like what? Like, wouldn't you think that's like the biggest like exciting thing of the century? Why would you not be fazed or not find that interesting? Just seems kind of odd to me. Very weird. But anyway, it apparently after his comment on Air Force One talking about that, he later posted on his social media account that he will be contacting all forms, different branches of the defense of military, and all manner of intelligences involved in the military, asking them all to release as many like UFO and extraterrestrial files as possible. So I just think that's so fascinating how like Obama says this, then he retracts it, Trump says it's classified, and then he goes on Truth Social and says he's going to release these, alien files. And of course, we all know what the general public's opinion on that's going to be. Well, there's just a distraction from the Epstein files, which, there's been a lot of Epstein files that have been released recently. But of course, there's a lot of data that's been redacted. And, it makes sense for the women who were sadly affected by that evil man and his cohorts, but not. But if you're protecting people who harmed those individuals, then that's no bueno, because they should be held accountable for their crimes. But anyways, yeah. So people are probably going to say that, but honestly, like, there's a lot that goes. There's just so much different angles you can explore this whole governance thing, and honestly, I just find the topic of, I mean, if you can tell, if you've watched any of my previous videos, I find that topic just endlessly fascinating. The idea that there's potentially real extraterrestrial life, or maybe just interdimensional life that exists somewhere out there, and it hasn't been disclosed to the public. I just think that would be so cool. And if it is real, then wow, that would be so exciting. I mean, just the idea of life that's out of this world is just really cool to me, because it's like, dang, how advanced would you have to be to travel vast distances in order to get here? It's insane. But anyways, yeah, so I'm hoping that there is some new files released, that there is some new like footage that can be verified of being of anomalous origin, and hopefully, maybe even if we're lucky, alien body. That would pretty much put every skeptic out there to bed if we saw a body or something, or photos of a body at least. I mean, why not? But hey, and then there's those rumors like where apparently the former director of the CIA stated that there's going to be a big reveal event in 2027 of the extraterrestrial presence or something like that. So a lot of like UFO fans have banded on that. They're like, oh my gosh, there's going to be finally a reveal of these beings in that time. It's going to be exciting. So I mean, I'll believe it when I see it, but I'm hoping that 2027 is the year of the alien. That would be so cool. Of course, this isn't new. There have been plenty of times where like vast groups of people have predicted, no, this is the year they're going to show up. So, I mean, I just happen to be living in a time when this is the year that's being predicted. I mean, I hope it's true. I mean, part of me hopes it's true because that would be really cool if that happened. But if it's not true, then no, I'm never falling for any of those scams again. That's for sure. But yeah, kind of got off on a tangent there, didn't I? Anywho, yeah. So I listened to some music on these guys. Started off with Zelda music. Then I decided to listen to "Baby Give It Up." Old song that I think is really catchy and fun sounding. And finally, after that, my mom woke up. I greeted her and I asked her how she's doing. She said she was doing really good. And then she asked me how I was doing. And I said I was doing really good myself. And then after that, I pretty much asked, oh, and by the way, want to try out my new headphones? And she said yes. So I asked her what music she would like to listen to. She stated that she would like to listen to the lady who sang "I Will Survive," but then she made the song "Back on Top," like I never fell off. So I played that for her, and she had her own over the ear earphones that she had, and she wanted to compare mine with hers. And she said that mine were a definite improvement in terms of audio quality, where hers, they got the job done, but you could tell they weren't like super high end. So yeah, I mean, I would hope they're high quality if they're like $330, plus 30, like $2 extra for taxes, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, I listened to some tunes. It was a lot of fun. Did a little dancing, really cool. Then she made a egg and provolone croissant sandwich. I ate with her. Then she left for work, and then I pretty much just spent like my time just browsing on YouTube until I found a video by Ralph the Movie Maker where he talks about his favorite TV shows. And so I decided to tune into that. And while I was listening to that, I preheated the air fryer and I had some chicken tenders, which were surprisingly very good. They were frozen and they were warmed up in that air fry. Afterwards, I got a plate. I put some you call that barbecue sauce on it, so I'd have something to dip the chicken tenders in. And I also got a Fresca to go with that. And I ate it in our back room that was newly installed, and I was watching the Ralph video. I thought it was pretty good, but then I was wondering, has Simian Jimmy released a new video? So I looked up on his channel, and yes, he did. He released a video about why he decided Christianity wasn't for him. But of course, it was his character, Vincent the Atheist, who was talking about it, not him. Although, you know, I'm pretty sure he just uses Vincent as like a surrogate character for himself. But he puts on that kind of mask as a way of like plausible deniability, maybe. I don't really know. Or just because he thinks it's a funny character to portray, which, to be fair, he is a pretty funny character. Um, so yeah, I decided to watch that while having some sweets, in terms of a slice of homemade berry pie that was made by my sister, which I had yesterday. Which it's the best homemade pie I've ever had. Of course, if it had like butter crust instead of lard crust, it would be the greatest pie in all of the universe. But it's still one of the greatest pies I've ever had. I warmed that bad boy in the microwave for 45 seconds, poured a cup of coffee, and I had some of the French vanilla ice cream. And I watched the Vincent video, and it was pretty good. Overall, I enjoyed it. It was basically him talking about this old VHS tape of like a puppet squirrel or puppet chipmunk that goes on a little adventure in an amusement park, and it's like the chipmunk gets help from like a lady and learns to be like nice to people and stuff, and teaches like a bully that's chasing him around to be nice too. So it was apparently a video that convinced Vincent that he didn't want to pursue Christianity, and because of he thought that like the idea of like, you know, believing in the love of Christ only for the actor of the program, who was like the kid bully, to grow up to be like an abusive boyfriend later in life, apparently, due to a legal criminal record that was released that had his face and name on it. So yeah, pretty interesting and funny indeed. I like the dynamic that the God character has with Vincent. I think it's hilarious because like the God character just wants him to continue making more, but Vincent just wants to stop doing it, you know. But it's pretty funny. Now, after I was done watching that video and eating, I decided to do some meditation. And right when I was about to do it, my sister got up. I greeted her, said hello, how are you doing? She said she was doing good. She asked me how I was doing. I said I was doing good. And then I went and I listened to some hemisync frequencies for 15 minutes. And yeah, I just tried to get into a good meditative state. And it ended up paying off really well, because after the 15 minutes up, we're up, I felt really well rested and energized and ready to conquer the rest of the day. So then I decided to show my sister my new headphones. I asked her which song she'd like me to play for her through them, and she suggested the Superman theme by John Williams. So I was like, sure, I could do that. I found it on YouTube Music. I gave her the headphones. She put them on. I played it, and yeah, she said she thought they were really good. I even was like, could hear little bits of the song and dance directly to the music in front of her, and she thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, pretty cool. Now, after that, I brewed a cup of coffee. I went to my room. I did 1 hour of Brain Jam extra editing. I drew a few new storyboard frames, and I'm inserting them into the presentation, and that's going really well. And after that, I will be working on my drawing lessons. The only problem is I never got around to the drawing lessons at all today. So that's 3 days I missed out on drawing lessons, which means tomorrow I better do an hour of drawing to make up for it. So there you go. Yesterday I did some figure drawing. It went really well. Now, after it was revealed how that was my project was going, I decided to go and I greeted my mom and our family friend, and my sister was there, and then my sister got in like a conversation with my mom, and then she had a chat with her family friend, and then afterwards, my mom and family friend had to go to a Bible study. My mom prepared some chicken. She wanted me to put it in the oven, so I put it in the oven. And when it was in there, I timed it for 40 minutes. And then I decided to crush the cans and bottles that were in a container in the living room, while also putting a little piece of broken wood back in its rightful spot, so that way it wouldn't be, messed with by people's feet, or people's feet wouldn't get messed up with it. And after that, I remember I crushed all the bottles and cans and I put them away, and I decided it would be good idea to use the restroom. After that, as I was doing all this, I was listening to like a really cool podcast where a neurosurgeon was discussing why how you can manifest anything. It was a really good video. I really liked it. Like, I think one of my favorite aspects of it was just how resilient he was to what he wanted to achieve, and despite the world constantly throwing no in his face, he didn't take no for an answer, and he became what he always wanted to be, which was a neurosurgeon, which was pretty awesome. Now, I found it so inspiring that I decided to do a little journaling about my thoughts on it. And then after that, I saw my sister, who got out of her room, and I asked her if she'd be interested in watching the podcast with me. She said, sure. We watched it together. My mom and family friend arrived back from their Bible study. I preheated the oven to put the chickens back in for a good 16 minutes. So I put them in there. They were ready to go. So me, our family friend, and my mom had some. My sister wasn't hungry. She left to hang out with some friends. And we enjoyed our meal. Our family friend warmed up some freshly made corn tortillas, and those were delicious. After eating that, I remember that I needed to wake up early tomorrow to bring my sister to the blood plasma delivery center. So that's something I'm going to have to do when I go to bed tonight. Then after that, I remember I actually took my vitamin K2, my vitamin D3, my fish oil, and my calcium tablet around 3 p.m. today. And then for the rest of the pills, which was the magnesium and multivitamin, I took them at the end of the day around like 11:30. And the reason why I did that was because the reason why was because magnesium and calcium, vitamin K2 and D3 compete for absorption in your body if you have them all at once. But if you space the calcium K2 and the D3 out from, along with pairing it with a fat soluble oil like fish oil or whatever, you'll end up absorbing the nutrients much easier. And that means you'll be able to absorb the magnesium much easier as well. So when I found out about that, I was like, okay, that's good to know. I'm going to do this, yeah, for later. So yeah, then I took my vitamins. I brushed my teeth. I cuddled our cat Malcolm that was hanging out in my mom's room. I said goodnight to my mom. I said goodnight to our family friend. And then I decided to go and take out the trash, refill the trash bag, and then record this video. So that's going to do it for now. I'm pretty tired and I need to get up early, so I'm going to go to bed right now. Thank you for watching. Take care and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.